How does a foreign fast fashion brand compete with long-standing rivals like Old Navy, Zara, and H&M? Uniqlo really captured my attention when they opened up 5 different stores in the Texas market within 1 month. So clearly have some sort of customer strategy they feel confident in. And look into it further, they've been doing collaborations with Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. And so has this strategy been working? We're going to use insights from over 100 million credit cards and segmentation to do a full brand teardown on Uniqlo's retail strategy using the consumer code framework. We're going to be looking at their niche customer segments, their competition, and if they've been growing in market share against those segments, the channels that they're using to target their media, the culture in fast fashion that they're operating in 2005, the creative and copy they've been using to execute the personalized media strategy, and finally conversion. Is it actually working? So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, let's look at Uniqlo's customer segmentation. This is where I think they've been doing really well in positioning against competition by focusing on very niche, urban, higher income, and tech-forward consumers. We can see 29% of all of their revenue are coming from millennials, but I also like to see this not just by revenue share, but also by percentage purchase, and that really captures the fact in the story that Gen Z way over-index on purchases from Uniqlo. 3.2% of everybody in Gen Z have bought from Uniqlo, making those people 3.5% more likely than the average person. Now, we've not fully seen Gen Z's power in the marketplace quite yet because we have a lot of people that are under the ages of 18 still in the market. So that's going to continue to grow for Uniqlo. It makes sense why they're doing some of these collaborations with Gen Z related brands. So I also like to look at this based on the income levels that they are serving. 16% of the revenue coming from people making 150 to 200,000. They might seem high income, but remember these people are in very urban settings. They don't actually have that much discretionary income. This is why I think this customer segment is very sweet for them because it is a lower ticket size, but still a very high fashion. Then I also like to look at their psychographic segmentation to give a feel for the types of people that are purchasing from the brand and why they're purchasing from the brand. So we're going to look at the personalized segmentation, which classifies everybody in the U.S. into one of these 80 behavioral segments. And we can see 7.8% of their revenue are coming from the urbanist segment. This is a very high fashion, almost like a hipster type segment, and they're relatively high income living in urban settings. And then your next 3 segments have one commonality: Silicon Nation, exclusive experts, and tech titans, and that is they are all over-indexed on working very white collar tech forward type jobs. So think about computer science. They over-index as well on being Asian, over-index on being engineers. So that's a very unique flavor for the Uniqlo consumer. And then there's this sleeper segment, BO1, which is really interesting to me because they don't fit the profile of the rest of their consumers. This is more of a suburban segment. They're a very diverse segment. They have a lot of immigrants, Hispanic immigrants in there, Asian immigrants, Indian immigrants as well. And this is really interesting to me. These people are actually not in dense urban settings. They're a little bit more in suburban settings, and they represent 2.4% of the United States population. And this is interesting for Uniqlo because these are especially in markets that Uniqlo is not. I believe that Uniqlo actually knows about this segment because this particular segment makes up a huge portion of the trade areas and then in where they opened up in Texas with those 5 stores opening up in the month of October. So good job, Uniqlo, with that. Okay, let's see how Uniqlo stacks up against these other fast fashion brands as far as market share and competition. So we're looking at them versus Zara, Old Navy, Forever 21, and ASOS. In the beginning of the year, they're at 5.1% market share, whereas Old Navy was at 69.2% market share. End of the year here, Uniqlo at 6.68% market share, and Old Navy at 6.8% market share. So Uniqlo has 1.5% growth, and that's not nothing. This is a relatively big market, so good progress there. But I think what we really want to know is, has that strategy of focusing on Gen Z actually worked? And the quick answer to that is, yes, it has. So when we cut these sales by Gen Z, we can see that they went from 8% market share now to 12.6% market share, a little bit over 4% gain in this particular segment. We can see that they're taking it from Old Navy, in particular Zara, so a lot of these going down. So great job, Uniqlo. That is working for you. I think one thing for us to pay very close attention to is this new entrant here, which is Shein. who is, oh my gosh, captured so much of the market share. So the 23% here now to 29% market share, and it continues to grow. But one thing I think we should consider in looking at with Shein is the average ticket size. So we see ASOS and Zara, relatively high ticket size, Uniqlo $77 ticket size, and then let's see, Forever 21, Shein is about 55%. So they're really going at very different price points here. The next question is, for each one of these brands, which particular customer segments can Uniqlo focus and grow to take market share from those brands, or just grow the pie? Okay, let's look at some segments that Uniqlo can gain market share with and plausibly grow and win with versus their competitors. Here I have a comparison on the XY axis of Uniqlo versus Zara. So on the X axis, we see revenue share for Uniqlo. Urbanist representing 7.8% of Uniqlo's total sales. And then on the y-axis, we have the same for Zara. In this case, Midas Might, very high-income suburban segment, making up 4.5% of all Zara's sales. And then the size of that bubble represents the total amount of people there are in the market nationally. So Urbanist represents 1.4 million total households. I would say, against Zara, Uniqlo would do well to continue that $80 average ticket size, where Zara has about $122 average ticket size. Zara is, they're speaking to as a consumer that has a higher discretionary income versus the more urban and higher price for rent of these more city segments. Now, there's this interesting segment here again that I'll point out as the Fusion Family segment, which they're pretty equal on. Uniqlo is winning on it slightly, and they represent 2.5 million households, so a big opportunity for Uniqlo to grow there and take market share from Zara. We'll do the same thing here with Old Navy. So here we're seeing a bit of a different graph. There's no strong correlation between Uniqlo and Old Navy segments. They're really speaking to a different group. We see Old Navy doing really well with Babies, Burbs, and Blessings. And then we do have Fusion Families there in the middle. So again, another opportunity for Uniqlo to take market share. And we'll look at the last one, which is Shine. I don't know how you say that. And we see Shein doing really well with some of these lower income segments, more rural segments. So kids and country, solos, which is primarily a Hispanic renting segment. So a lot of lower income, middle income, suburban groups over here. And then Uniqlo, again, doing really well with those urban segments. So for Shein in particular, I would say really just ignore a lot of those lower income segments and focus on winning the land war with your brick and mortar retail places, which Shein doesn't look like they're going to be getting into anytime soon. So across all of those, I've picked out 6 different segments that Uniqlo has a right to win. The first one would be Urbanist, which is their number one segment by revenue share. Tech Titans, which way over index on buying for them. They have 11% penetration in this particular segment. They're not a very big portion of the population, though, but very high affinity. Silicon Nation, Exclusive Experts, and then Fusion Families. Fusion Families is the one that I'm really excited about because they have 2.6% market penetration, and they're not even near these people. These people are primarily buying Uniqlo and e-commerce or traveling to visit these stores, and they represent 2.5 million of the total U.S. population, primarily in markets that Uniqlo is not. So a lot of opportunity to win the land battle there. 2 major growth channels for Uniqlo in 2025 is store expansion and brand collaborations, and we'll cover both of those in this video. So I have here selected our top segments for Uniqlo visualized on a map, and no surprising, the places where they have the densest concentration of stores has a lot of their target segments. So I can select any one of these zips and see the total count and percentage of households that meet their target segment criteria. But we want to look at markets where they are not currently. And we can see there's actually a number of untapped markets in the Midwest. So this is not surprising to me, but I was very proud of Uniqlo for this. They opened up a number of different stores in the Houston and Dallas market, which look nothing like their previous markets. But we can see in both Houston and Dallas, they have a huge portion of their segments that are present. Here we see 25,000 total households, 72% of them are the segments that we selected. And BO1, which is our Fusion Family segment, represents 11,000 total households in this particular zip code. They also have their other segments that are present in the zip code. So we see Houston is a great area. I did see some other areas more in the Northeast, Atlanta being maybe a surprising area. So the sort of the Northeast of Atlanta, as well as some locations in Boston that look very promising for Uniqlo's further expansion. Now, when it comes to collaboration, they've been doing a really good job of picking brands that really resonate with Gen Z, but we might want to be even more specific and look at brands that resonate with Gen Z among a very specific segment. And the segment that I believe they have the most potential with and growing this year is this BO1 Fusion Families segment. So if we wanted to understand what types of brand collaborations may work good with them, we can go to Fusion Families here. And I am in particular interested in their brand influence. So here we're going to see a number of brands that show up that these people over-index on following. So we see overall brands, but we can see particular restaurant brands that they over-index on following, fitness brands, beauty brands. This would be interesting for Uniqlo, food and beverage brands, auto brands, etc. Lego might be an interesting one for them too. I could see that being very on brand. And then channels. So you could use this as far as understanding what types of publishers to put your media on, but you could also use it to find out just generally what these people are interested in. So we can see the top podcast that might be interesting to Uniqlo, top TV shows that might be interesting to Uniqlo, as well as influencers. So these are actual individual people that the people in the Fusion Family segments are following. Now, if Uniqlo is going to want to target a male or female line, they can go here and see, I want to know the female influencers, specifically the people, the females in this segment, who they are following. Doesn't necessarily have to be female. Okay, and that is how you would look at brand collaboration and geographical locations for Uniqlo. All brands operate within a cultural landscape. Uniqlo is no different. In fact, there's a lot of trends right now that are impacting the fast fashion landscape, both positively and negatively. I've highlighted a few that I think are going to have positive impacts on Uniqlo based on their particular target consumer of Gen Z, based on some research that I've done. So one is sustainability. 72% of Gen Z says they are conscious of where their clothing is coming from. I don't know if this is particularly positive for Uniqlo. It is something they need to be aware about and something that I have seen them start to address. A positive thing they're doing really well with is influencer micro trends. They're doing really well with collaborations. They could probably do a little bit better with organic content and reposting influencers that are already naturally posting what they're doing. Vintage and secondhand fashion is something that's probably a negative thing. Gen Z is a little bit more price conscious, and it's actually pretty hip. So that is not particularly positive for Uniqlo. Gender fluid fashion, another cultural trend. Cultural fusion. So this is probably the most positive thing for Uniqlo. 70% of designers say they want to incorporate different cultural trends or different cultural flavors within their clothing. And Uniqlo is already on this. They're already working with designers that are doing this, so they can magnify that. And plus, they're really selling to a very diverse group of people, a lot of them immigrants. So I think this is going to be a big win for Uniqlo this year. And then the last trend here is AI and personalization, in particular because they serve such a racially unique market. I think AI and personalization is going to have a positive impact for them if they do execute on it. Well-executed creative and copy ensures that the right offer is getting to the right audience. So let's do a little bit of analysis on what Uniqlo is doing with their paid advertisement. So I have got Meta's ads library up there, and it's pretty cool to see that they're already promoting their new Dragon Ball collaboration. So that is interesting to see them continuing on that path. And just overall, I would say Uniqlo is doing a pretty good job of focusing on what their segment looks like and the value proposition of functionality that is still very fashionable. So I give them a 10 out of 10 in execution on that. One thing I would say that they're missing that's just really low-hanging fruit is all these people that are, and Uniqlo is reposting this, their social team is, but there's a lot of people that are just organically talking about their brand and commenting on it, and these people look like the Uniqlo consumer. Like look at this one right here, very diverse. The guy looks Hispanic. We have another kind of a diverse group. So I think what they could consider, this one has 808,000 views. What they could consider is taking some of this, reposting it as paid ads, because they already have influencers doing a little bit of work for them that they could activate on. Okay, did it work? Did Uniqlo convert people as intended? I think this graph in market share shows a lot. If we look at their market share by Generation Z, we can see they went from 8.7% market share to 12.6% market share at the end of the year. And that's great penetration against these other brands, taking it mainly from Old Navy, Forever 21, ASOS, and Zara. And I think the most interesting graph here is when we look at their strategy in the Texas market. So if we just cut this by the geography of Texas, which incorporates their 5 stores that they opened in October, we see Uniqlo jump in market share from 2% market share to now 9% market share, going up to 10% market share just by opening up in the month of October. And that is because they hit those fusion families. So overall, I'd say there is a lot of momentum behind the Uniqlo brand. They went up significantly in market share with Gen Z. They are focusing on the right geographies with open up their target segments. And I think they would be good to continue on focusing and making sure that their average ticket size continues to match their exact segments. They're around $80, which is a lot lower than their competitor, Zara. Some wins that they may have to face next year might be potential tariffs that will lift up that average ticket size for them, but that is remained to be seen. I am excited to see how that plays out for Uniqlo next year. Thank you for watching this Uniqlo brand teardown.